Good morning, it's February the 27th, 2025. I got that right. Getting that wrong can cause awful problems. You're welcome back. Help me, please. I need help. Help! 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 One of the things that seems to be misunderstood is my attitude to my campaigning and my politics and all of that. You see people saying, "What's your blood pressure there? You couldn't get too excited." Well, I'd rather die of excitement than boredom any day. Boredom is a horrible thing. A horrible thing. Why can campaigning against evil and stupidity not be a game? How can one get out of the house, go up to a football pitch, or look at a boxing match on television, as they did long ago with Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston and all these, and enjoy it? And it's quite normal. And they're inside in the pubs looking at Bolton Wanderers playing soccer against Wigan, and they're losing their minds with excitement. And I can't get excited because Donald Trump gets elected, and I can't enjoy the fun of seeing him smashing through the lefties. The whole lefty woman in America, Joy Reid, finished her, took her off the air altogether. She was crying, "Oh, Trump got elected." Why can we not enjoy it? Why can we not watch Napoleon Macron going over to Trump and seeing the fun of that, and Starmer heading over today? Oh, my word, why not can we enjoy that? What do we get in? You won't get me too excited about any of those sports, really. But I used to be very good at the clay pigeon shooting, which is probably a lot misunderstood. It really is concentration on it and loneliness. It's a great sport that way, but it's expensive to do. But anyway, and I do other sports as well. But why cannot one get excited about what's going on around the world? Well, of course, you could argue that the deaths in Ukraine, people have died. Oh, maybe that's an argument maybe you could make. I'm not pushing this on you. Anyway, what I really want help with, folks, I stood for election in 2020. Last year, 24, in the Cavan constituency for the Irish Freedom Party. Now, there's a Coughlin's Tom there, a rip-roaring Trotskyite Sinn Féin supporter, believes that the Cuban model is the model for Ireland. And as you know, it is the highest rate of female prostitution. Maybe he thinks he would get something there. He'd get easy pickings for his cravings there. I don't know. And he calls Herman Kelly, the leader of my party, who doesn't partake in these videos at all, a black and tan, a crowd of British auxiliaries that came over here to fight the Irish in 1922, 1921, 1920s. Now, in Dublin City, it has to be said they're a very mixed bunch. They were loyal to Michael Collins, big time. They were down around Talbot Street and down there. But among their numbers are the dregs of the British Army, the squaddies, the low-ranking, working-class chappies that came over with the British Army, not necessarily the Black and Tans. They were stationed there, and their grandchildren are the main supporters of Sinn Féin in Dublin. So they don't have my Irish roots. But the thing about Coughlin's Tom, he talks about Nigel Farage and some kind of a scandal. Herman Kelly has not done anything to make me see anything wrong with that. I'm a much bigger supporter of English nationalism than Herman Kelly. I support Nigel Farage 100% and travelled all the way to Dublin to see him. He had a conference thing. So condemn me for that. We want Irish nationalism. England's over there beside us. We want English nationalism. We want the alternative for Germany. We have Trump in America, and we want it everywhere. There's no shame attached to it at all. But if you want to convict me of being an Irish nationalist and supporting my nearest neighbour, Nigel Farage, as an English nationalist, until he dirties his copy now, let me say, the Reform UK, then I plead guilty straight away. Now, when I stood for election, I get this back from Trinity College. It's a research thing. I'll just read what it says. The Comparative Candidate Study, Irish General Election 2024, Trinity College, Dublin. Now, folks, I'll try and make this video in one, but if not, I'll make two. I don't know what to say. I'm lost with this. I can't handle it, and I take it very serious. Now, it's not compulsory. You have to put in a whole lot of things about your funding to SIPO, cursed nuisance. A load of nonsense. But anyway, I had to do it. It took me 2 days to do it. So I'm going to go through it here and see what you think. Now, the first question is, what party? Irish Freedom Party. There's no need to go on there. There's nothing new about there. There are a whole lot of ticks. Now, one of the questions that comes up here is campaigning. What 3 words best describe how you feel about your experiences being a candidate in the 2024 general election? Excited, anxious, energised, pessimistic, happy, frustrated. So there's 3 questions. There's 3. You see there? Well, I put down pessimistic because they didn't vote for me in enough numbers to get me into Dáil Éireann, where I would cause holy hell. I'd already be banned already. There'd be war, but I wouldn't hurt anyone. But you can imagine the verbal exchanges that would go for me. They couldn't let me in there. And in fairness, the voters of Cavan probably realised we can't put that Val in there because he'll create a racket. Now, so I'm pessimistic though that we didn't go for Irish nationalist conservatism and stop this mass migration. I stood on the mass migration. Stopping mass migration straight away. Troops at the ports. No, out. Get the hell out of here. Same as Trump. That was my policy. That's that. That doesn't mean now for anyone watching me that I'm against legally migrants, Polish people who come here and help us, and someday I might be treated by a Filipino nurse or something. That's not. Don't let them tell you that that's the kind of person I am. So I put down pessimistic, and I put down frustrated too. I'm frustrated that enough people didn't back us. No, we got no party, no candidate elected, and that's the fact. So that's frustrating. So the third one then is happy. Well, I'm happy that Trump is the president. So despite them all, we're going to walk all over you anyway. So that's what I want to get across to Trinity College. Now, did you primarily run as a candidate because other people encouraged you to? Well, I did. The party was going to run somebody else, and I thought it might be another better chance. Now, you're going to get the left, you lost, that's it. This is what they'll say. But if you don't run, how do you know? I mean, Viktor Orban had a run, and he won, and they're trying to get him out. In Romania, they selected a man. He was for us, our side, and they put him out. The court ruled him out. So this is what we're up against. It's not democratic all over. The only country that managed to get proper democracy was the USA. Fair play to them. So we're winning in places. Anyway, if you run as a candidate, so now there's nothing much in this. A lot of these questions, I'll just pause here and skip a lot. A lot of them are just basic stuff. Did you go door to door and all that? Now, if you ran as a candidate political party, what was your primary aim in your campaign? Was it me glasses a bit dirty? No, some candidates attract as much attention for themselves, others for the party. In other words, were you for the party or yourself? Well, I'm for both. Attract as much attention as possible. I give it a 3. There's 1 to 10. So for me. Well, I thought maybe the party might not resonate as much with the people as myself, and many people have told me if I had a run as an independent I'd have done better, and many told me that. So that's what I put it higher me, but I did want to give the party a bit of attention. Now, at the beginning of the campaign, how did you evaluate your chances of winning? Well, Trump was doing well. The migration was a crisis. A lot of people came to me. I thought I had a chance. it says I had a small chance. I got a good enough vote, but I thought I had a chance. If I knew it was a dead loss, I wouldn't have ran, and I'd went up to campaign against Roderick O'Gorman in Dublin. And I didn't do that, and he got in because of me. I have to raise my hand and say I'm guilty of Roderick O'Gorman getting in, because if I'd have spent a week door to door scandalising him and dirtying him down every way I could. Now, please indicate the extent to which you agree or disagree with the following. On the whole, I found the campaign more difficult than I expected. I don't agree with that. Right, I hurt my thumb with a door of a van, and one of my helpers hurt his foot. But the rest of it was all simple. I got great support. People came from everywhere. I can't talk about a lot of them. People came up to me on the quiet ringing me, but it was hard to handle it. I hadn't enough staff. That was difficult. The lack of staff was definitely a difficulty. So I still disagree, but that was my problem. It's not easy starting up. But sure, we knew that. I knew all that. This is all more a bit of fun than anything else. So now we go on here about whether you knocked on doors or not. Now here's another one, question 12. During election campaigns, some candidates feel safe while others are not worried. While others are worried about their safety, may feel safe. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being very safe, and 10 means very unsafe. How safe did you feel? I felt very safe. I am seriously frustrated and disappointed. Nobody attacked me. Nobody came along with a 3-pronged fork. Nobody tried to hit me with a hammer or shillelagh. Nobody threw boiling water on me. Right, I went to the travellers' camp and they were hostile. And then I pointed out, your people up in Ballycoolan have big noses up at the camp for Trump. They didn't seem to make the connection between me and Trump. They liked Trump, but they didn't seem to think I was a true Trumpian. That's the type of thing. But they weren't too bad. I know they were grand, but they told me they were voting Sinn Féin. That's it. So, that's understandable. But no, there were no one saying. So, that is terrible. Why did no one come out and attack me? Why not? I went in to have me dinner. Nobody attacked me. I'm disgusted over it. But I felt very safe. Look to that. That's no fun in that. If you use social media... just let's see what this is here. Yeah, it's about what extent do you use social media? Was it good? You know what? This was the only channel I had. I found Facebook and Twitter useless. I'm banned off them in a sort of way anyway. No good, because the people looking at you on social media are not in your constituency. The jackasses using it don't understand. You must get the vote in your constituency. So social media, it's worth a few votes. There would be a few people who would know me. Oh, it did. I'd say it got me maybe 300 votes, maybe. People that saw me on it. I'd say that's the truth. So, yeah, I say it's important a bit, and then as I go down, was I experiencing abuse on it or anything like that? Unfortunately, I got no abuse. That's terrible. Due to the negative experience online, I avoid using social media again. I would use social media. It's just not a very powerful tool. It was so negative that it would make me reconsider running for office. So my experience on social media was so bad, I wouldn't run again. This is this old social media thing to bring in the hate speech law. And I said I strongly disagree. I didn't get enough abuse. I must say, I want to thank user Coughlin's Tom, Joe Hayes, for giving me some abuse. But it's not enough. You need to abuse me even more. That abuse, not given a reason, that's not abuse. You need to abuse me properly. Now, some candidates may experience harassment or intimidation while carrying out campaigning. During your election campaign, to what extent did you personally experience it? Physical violence. Nobody. I got no physical violence. Nobody hit me. But you want to see the way I fight. Gee. And I don't need any whiskey. Gee, physical violence. I mean, wrestling with bullocks and cows and dosing them down the neck. Catching them in the horn and putting a big dose at them and cutting the horns off them. And it had violence. Oh my God. Physical violence. Being hit, attacked, having objects thrown. Nobody give me any violence. Threats, intimidation, harassment. to you, your campaign staff or others. I have a few boys who's campaigning for me, and I tell you, if you were to give them any hassle, it'd be as good as a boxing match. No, I did. I got none of that. Damage to your personal property or post. Yeah, my posters were taken down at Muff Cross, at Coppin Cross, and New Hamlet about the pylons. Now, having said that, there was another party into. Were very nice to me. There seemed to be a synergy, and when I was eliminated, I sent 675 votes to Sarah Riley of Aonthu. I don't know, but they're a left-wing party, but I wonder, could we do anything there? But they took down my posters by my consent, and that left it difficult for me to report that, because you couldn't report a sign being taken if it was your own people took it down with my consent. So they're gone. If anyone knows anything about the ones that were taken down without my consent, I'd let you know. So that was a plus. I give that. I strongly agree. It happened several times. False, malicious rumours being spread. Well, you see, I don't know what people are saying to you behind the scenes, saying about you. Please, more. I'll not sue anyway. The more vicious you put the false rumours about me, the more I like it. I enjoy a laugh, okay? Now, that doesn't mean it goes everywhere. I don't think anyone would believe anything you could say about me. I'm a fairly honest man. Fairly honest. I won't say you can do anything and I won't sue you, but you can certainly talk about me politics and all of that. Anyway, I don't know. I'll leave it as that. Belittling, insulting comments directed at you in your meetings and debates. Well, only online, only with these lefties here. So, no, it didn't arise at all. A lot of people respected me. And I got hundreds of votes from people who crossed across to Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil as number 2. They understood the PR system. Degrading comments or harassment behaviour of a sexual nature. Well, not one woman, good looking, ugly or anything else, made any lewd or sexual comment or told me what they'd like to do with me if they got me behind closed doors. I'd pray, but bless me, which hand do you bless her with? My God almighty. Well, even a woman, sure, if you're not, can't stick the heat, get out the fire, get out the kitchen. Load of crap. Anyway, we'll see now more. When campaigning, what were the top 3 issues? So I've down immigration, combating climate hysteria. And I might correct that a bit. They might think I was a climate changer. Combating climate hysteria. I might correct it. There's a little comment placed down underneath so that, you know, the climate change is a scam. And now the other one is protecting petrol and diesel cars. That's all I have there. I think, now don't be afraid, you can tell me what you don't agree with. Might consider anything. Now, in politics, some people talk about left and right. Where would you place yourself in the views of the parties? So it's very hard. Myself, I put it 9 for right. But you see, there is no right. The politics is a circle of a clock with oppression, like Kim Jong-un and Castro at the top and Stalin, and freedom at the bottom, like you kind of have in Switzerland and Iceland. You know, very few countries with a good climate, with a warm climate, have it at 6. Well, now Australia and New Zealand, they're not free. There's a lot of woke there, but they're not too bad. You know, you have warm climate, but they're British people there, of course. Anyway, where would you place them? So I put myself at 9 to the right, but, you know, subject to that, you understand that. So where are the rest of them? Now, on the extreme left is Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Green Party, Labour Party, Sinn Féin, Social Democrats, People Before Property, Puberty, and Aonthu. Now, every one of them are extreme left, or a not, but Aonthu is in the middle. It's not just as left. Do you understand? So all of the Irish political parties are extreme left. Up in the American Democratic parties, you know what, you know that yourself. But comment more, you could say something like, oh, I'm Fianna Fáil now, we're not left on. Give me a reason and we'll change it. Right, no. So then, to what extent do you agree with the following? People who break the law should be given stiffer sentences. We see the law now has been normal. The law now is posting on social media what the country's been destroyed by migrants or anything else. So there are people in jail in England already for this. And Enoch Burke, although he was on a civil case, he's still in jail. So you can't say different sentences anymore. It used to be for rape, for abusing people, for beating up old women, old retirees. You wanted them to get a good penalty, or robbing banks. But now, not anymore. The people who are mature people are. I see in England there's a terrible problem with pensions. They voted Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and Sinn Féin, and they deserve all the abuse and the hardship and the cold and the poverty that's coming their way. The only people I wish for anything good is those who voted for the Irish Freedom Party, or good right-wing parties, as they call them. But that's what they get. You'll be starving, and that's what you voted for. And that's it. Now, maybe Fianna Fáil will change. Fine Gael, maybe they will too. We don't know. I can't say what the future holds with the evolution of the world. But I said I neither agree or disagree. Isn't that sad when I, as an ex-guard, have to say I don't really want stiffer sentences because the government has made criminals out of the decent people? New civil laws are needed to reduce discrimination against LGBTQ people. Well, I have come across a good few gay people. Don't forget, homosexuality was illegal in Ireland until 1995 under the Criminal Law Amendment Act 1935, and I didn't agree with that, and they relaxed the law, let them belt away, is my view. Now they want to reduce discrimination. They want positive discrimination. So you put the lad driving the airplane and the air traffic controller, who has to be black, he has to be a man who wants to be a woman, he has to wear fishnet tights to work. He wants to wear his underpants like what do you call him, Batman, over his trousers. And this is what they want. So I strongly disagree with that. It's live and let live. This is only an agenda to wreck us with wokeism. And thank God, that's also men and women's sports. Trump is walloping them, and that's the stuff. Same-sex marriages should be prohibited by law. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, people will say, Val, you're out of my way now. I'm going to unsubscribe. Look at. I just don't have a me heart to stop people if that's what makes them happy. Sure, look at. And there's another reason too. And it was made very clear about same-sex marriage. Gay men should have the same right to be as miserable as ordinary heterosexual men. About 30% of people who are married are miserable in their marriages. Now, I could help them a bit in that. It's a terror, the unhappiness in marriage. People coming up to me to tell me all the hassle they engage. And sometimes it's the man's fault, sometimes it's the woman. But never mind the reason. Surely there must by now, after the marriage equality, there must be men married to men who are experiencing the very same misery as the men married to women. And sure, if that's the case, sure, what can I do about it? Right. When I was a guard, I a few times had to be involved in the arrest, mainly men, for breaking barring orders and things, and I hated doing it. God, it was a horrible experience, Anyway, now, which of the following views is closer to which of the following statements is closer to your view if there was a United Ireland? And there's three. Both North and South would benefit. Who'd benefit? The South would benefit more than the North, because the South it will never, if they can, they'll never change this woke stuff. They'll never change persecuting decent people, and so you force the North in here, and they're going to be persecuted as well. As well as that, I can get stuff a lot cheaper in the North, and I can get things in the North that I can't get here. I remember years ago, I must be 30 years ago, I bought a replica muzzle-loading shotgun. I wanted to make it more difficult, and I wanted to go back to the old ways, and I could get the materials and things for it in the North and enjoy the sport here for a while. I sold it after because I just hadn't time for it, and I sold it, and it was, you loaded it down the muzzle, and I could get all that in the North, totally forbidden here. So, this thing about, you might say, British in the North. We are prisoners here, and that happens in republics. The minute they get power, that's the thing about America. When it got independence from Britain, it endorsed freedom, whereas the Irish government endorsed prison and control. They handed the whole thing over to the Catholic Church. I grew up in it. So definitely, I would say better off. The people of the north should not come into the south. Now, when, if ever, do you think a referendum on Irish unity should be held? There should never. There's a whole lot. 10 years, 20 years. There should never be a referendum. But that's what I think. And there's a good case for having Cavan Monaghan and Donegal back into the north. But then, Keir Starmer is the British Prime Minister. So I tell you, it's on the slippery slope. So you can't really. I mean, times change. If that fella gets another 3 years, they'll be leaving them. They will vote to come into the south. But it's a pity we can't have a decent government in the south. Just a decent conservative government. I know so many unionists and nationalists in the north, and they hate the stuff that's going on. And I get emails from nationalist people, Catholic people, about the windmills and the torture that they're undergoing, and the torture with pylons and everything else. So the north is not totally clear of the woke agenda either. Right? Now, so I said there should never be a referendum. If people voted for a United Ireland in referendums towards there may be calls to change some of the existing symbols, like the flag and that. Well, I said I don't mind. You can change anything, like soldier song, the national flag. Who cares? Don't give it that. Well, someone says probably put the King Charles on it. God Almighty, could I bear looking at him? Oh, maybe that's a wee bit up. You can advise me on that. Now, do you understand? That's the symbols. It's nothing to do. You can advise me there about should there be a United Ireland. Someone said there should. Who'd benefit? Someone say, well, let's hear what you have there. And do you agree or disagree about the flags and all that? You can comment there. There's going to be a good response to this video. I'm on 26 minutes. So we'll go on anyway. So that's the story there. That's my view on the United Ireland. Oh my God Almighty, this republic is an obnoxious crowd of hooers running it. Crowd of hooers. Helen McEntee. Oh my God. And I was reading there where they do pick ones that looks a bit good. Oh, she's a nice young mother. And that one, Marin in Finland, that got the big job in the EU, another one. And that one from Lithuania, a pure Nazi from Lithuania, Khaled. Oh, she's a woman. And they're good looking ones. They'll be all right dusting behind the fridge. But now we're letting them loose on politics. Now, if they use the same criteria to select Ursula von der Leyen, Ursula von der Leyen, I think she's an ugly yoke. I don't know what you think of her. I think she's as ugly as sin. And that other Christine Blackguard. Below a number of statements. Do you fully agree with the statement left? Now, euthanasia. Do you agree with euthanasia? I give it a 3 out of 10. That's controversial, folks. You know what? I always say, if I was at Calvary, when anyone was being crucified, and I had a gun, I'd shoot them, or a knife, I'd stab them, I'd put them out of their misery. You wouldn't let a horse or an animal die on the road. You'll shoot them if you have to. You see in the Western film, the poor horse breaks a leg, and they shoot him out of mercy. Just think of that now. So I give it a 3 anyway. I'm not totally against that, but then of course if you let the lefties, they'll kill all the all the Republicans in America and the Conservatives here, and they won't kill the lefties. So that's the thing. So it's very difficult. Now the government should prioritise initiatives of subsistence about rent and all this. Look, we'll not go there. I give it. I don't know what else. I'll not bother with it. I would feel extremely uncomfortable living next to a traveller family. Well, I have a house that's not too far away from a settled traveller family, and there's a settled traveller in Kingscourt. It depends on who they are. If they're decent and good and doing the best they can, they're all right by me. Because I don't have any. People do condemn me for not condemning the travellers, and some of them do steal stuff. And I was in the police, and I used to deal with them. They don't like doing jail, I'll tell you that. But I don't know. I know a man who is now 70 was always refused a licence to go out and shoot ducks and to go out and shoot for farmers and things, and he always wanted to shoot, and he had a dog, and they never give it to him, and he's still a good man, still not a friend of mine but an associate. I don't know. All recreational drugs should be made illegal. Yes, no recreational drugs whatsoever. They dumb the mind. You'll have no country where you have that poison going around. To what extent do you agree the following statements? Defence spending in the Republic should be a priority. Definitely not. We don't need an army at all. Immigrants should be required to adapt to the customs of Ireland. I strongly agree. I don't totally begrudge the Poles and these people bringing over their custom here where it's good, but they must accept that it's secondary to ours. Germans should abstain from government should abstain from interfering in the economy. I give it a somewhat disagree. Immigrants are good for Ireland's economy. Well, I said I strongly disagree, but then again, you see, they're putting them all in the one bat. There's a difference in unchartered migrants dumped in here by Ursula von der Leyen from the EU and people who come here to work. There's Spanish people, nurses, there's Filipinos. So you see, they do this, they don't differentiate. That's a racket with Trinity College. Stronger measures should be taken to protect the environment. I strongly agree. Comply with the law on the FCA. I have to see our Irish environment destroyed in a way the British never did. Well, up to recently. We should limit the number of refugees coming to Ireland. Strongly agree. Providing a stable network for social security should be a prime goal of government. I strongly disagree. I don't think social security should be the prime objective. The prime objective should be industrial expansion and growth. The government should take measures to reduce differences in income levels. Well, that's how do you do that? How do you do that? I mean, I just give it a middle number 4, I think it was. Now, in your opinion, what are the two most important political problems facing Ireland today? Uncontrolled migration and failure of the EU to honour the SEA directive. So that's that. That's question 10. Question now, D for democracy. You see, it's divided up in various sections. So D for democracy, question 1. On a scale of 1, on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 means Ireland is not democratic at all, where would you go? So Ireland is not democratic. I give that full marks. It's not democratic. It doesn't obey EU directives, and you have to struggle in the court to get your rights. And migrants and those on the woke side get everything, where the ordinary Irish people get nothing, but they still vote for the government that does it. What can we do about that? So strongly disagree. Question 2, part 10. In 2016, candidate gender quotas were introduced for elections to Dáil. To what extent do you support the use of gender quotas? Strongly disagree. Because if you come along and say, there has to be so many women in the Dáil election, if it was 2 to 3, we'll say here, that would mean I hadn't a hope at all. That would mean in many parts of the country, the men that run would have no hope at all, because women would have to get it. The other problem is, according to Irish law now, a man who has the genitalia of a man can declare as a woman, and he would be able to become a politician because he says he's a woman. He's non-binary. But the thing about it is, I cannot be expected to make a show of myself going around in a dress and a false wig, or letting my hair grow down my sides and putting on lipstick just to get elected. So that is a preposterous suggestion. I give it a strongly disagree. Now, so then there's a question of who should TDs represent, and I said citizens at large. They should represent the whole country. Now, I'll read this out as quick as I can. Democracy may have problems, but it's the best. I strongly agree. Political parties are the essential link between citizens and state. I neither agree nor disagree. They're not. They're bought off by the big interests. Now, special interests have too much influence. I agree. Not strong. I just agree. They're not all special interests. Sometimes can be old farmers going up to get grants and things, you know. Parliament, not voters, should make the final decisions on law and policy. So what's the point? It's not democracy if the voters haven't a say. So I said disagree. Our democracy is losing its trust of its citizens, definitely. What people call compromise in politics isn't really selling out one's principle, definitely. Politicians in the Oireachtas need to follow the will of the people. Yes, that will be the will of the majority should always prevail over the rights of minorities. I strongly disagree, because minorities have to be looked after. How can you just say 80% of the people do everything and the other have no representation? Good democracies allow for minorities to have a say as well, whether they be religious minorities or whatever they are. But you see, this is why they're bringing in the migrants, because they want to have this for the whole lot, diluting our situation. But I don't agree that minorities. I mean, if I have a sport that it shouldn't be outlawed. It shouldn't be crucified just because it's a minority. As I said, the time I was into the old antique muzzleloading shooting, don't do it now, I was discriminated against. But that's just an example. So, yeah, I agree with that position. Now, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statements that make a decision on Ireland? Now, having a strong leader in government is good for Ireland, even if the leader bends the rules. I don't agree or disagree. I don't see why you should depend. It's very hard to answer that. Now, you can advise me on that. So, voters demand short-term rewards. They do. They do look for short-term rewards. That's the same place everywhere. Legislation reflects the interests of the minority of citizens, of the majority of citizens. It does. And that's the problem. The minority then get walked on. The universal right to vote must be questioned when so many voters are poorly informed and easily misled. Well, they make a choice. If they're easily misled, they have options. They can watch my channel, for example. A lot of them are deliberately misled, but we can only work on it, the government should be able to bend the law to solve pressing problems. I strongly disagree, because that's what they're doing. We have to build windmills to change the weather in 100 years' time, and we disagree. We disallow the SEA directive to assess the whole thing. So I strongly disagree with that. Now, we'll move on, and I can do another programme generally on it. We'll see our reception, 36 minutes. Do you know what? I think, folks, I'll stop at that, and I'll do another video now and finish off this topic. Is that all right? 36 minutes.